Oh, Lily, sweetie, I'm sure your mommy and daddy will get you something just as nice. We couldn't include everyone. That's what my mother-in-law said. Christmas morning, in front of the entire family, my 11-year-old daughter stood there, frozen. Her cousins were already ripping open matching gift boxes. iPhone 16 Pro Max. Each of them, brand new, gleaming, but not Lily. My daughter's hands were empty, her eyes were wide, and her chin, I saw it tremble. That's when I realized this wasn't a mistake. It was a message, and my daughter just received it in front of everyone. My name is Maya. I'm 34 years old. I work from home as a bookkeeper for small businesses. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. It keeps me close to my daughter. And honestly, I'm good at it. Numbers don't lie. People do. I've been married to Daniel for 12 years. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment outside the city. Nothing fancy, just enough. Daniel is the younger son in his family. His older brother Victor married Giselle, a woman who came from money and never lets anyone forget it. Victor runs the family's real estate business. He drives a new car every year. His kids go to private school. We're different, and my mother-in-law Constance has made sure I never forget that. She's never been outright cruel. That would be too obvious. Instead, it's the little things, the small comments, the forgotten invitations, the last-minute seating changes that somehow always put me at the edge of the table. But my daughter Lily, she's nothing like them. She's quiet, creative. She loves to draw. She's never once asked for expensive things. When other kids begged for tablets and brand-name clothes, Lily just wanted sketchbooks and colored pencils. She's gentle, kind, the kind of kid who shares her lunch with someone sitting alone, and they treated her like she didn't exist. But here's the thing, I wasn't rich. I didn't come from a fancy family. But I had something Constance never expected: patience, memory, and a plan she never saw coming. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, if you've ever felt invisible at your own table, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Because this story, it's for you. Let me take you back to that Christmas morning. Constance's house was decorated like a magazine cover, wreaths on every door, a tree that touched the ceiling. The smell of cinnamon and roasted ham filled every room. All 4 grandchildren were there. Victor's 3 kids, ages 9, 13, and 15, and my Lily, 11. After breakfast, Constance clapped her hands. I have something very special for my grandchildren this year, she announced. The kids gathered around her like she was Santa Claus. One by one, she handed out the gifts, white boxes, sleek and shiny. For you, Ethan, for you, Madison, and for you, little Oliver. Each of them screamed, iPhone 16 Pro Max, the newest model. Over $1,000 each. The cousins hugged their grandmother. Giselle smiled like she'd orchestrated the whole thing, and then it was Lily's turn. Constance paused. She looked at my daughter with that tight little smile, the one I'd seen 100 times. "Oh, Lily," she said, "I wasn't sure your parents could afford the phone plan, so I thought it best not to put that burden on them." The room went quiet. Giselle laughed softly, not loud, just enough. Victor said nothing. He stared at his coffee. The 13-year-old, Madison, wrinkled her nose. "Wait, Lily doesn't get one. That's so awkward." Daniel finally spoke. "Mom, that's not really fair." Constance cut him off. "Daniel, I'm not made of money. You want her to have a phone? Buy it yourself." I felt heat rising in my chest, but I didn't move, because I saw Constance's wrist. She was wearing a new bracelet. Designer. Probably cost more than Lily's phone would have. Lily stepped back. She looked at me. "It's okay, Mom," she whispered. "I don't need it." But her voice cracked, and her chin trembled again. I reached for her hand, squeezed it. Then the cousins started taking selfies. Madison shouted, "Everyone with the new phones, get in for a picture." They huddled together, laughing, posing. And Oliver, 9 years old, looked right at Lily and said, "You can't be in it. You don't have one." Lily stepped aside. No one told him to stop. No one said a word. She stood there, alone, watching her cousins celebrate without her. That night I tucked Lily into bed. She didn't cry. She just stared at the ceiling. "Mom," she said, "am I different from them?" I swallowed hard. "You're not different, sweetheart. You're just not like them. And that's a good thing." She didn't answer. I kissed her forehead and left the room, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this happen again. But I had to be smart. Because fighting loud doesn't work with people like Constance. You have to fight quiet. And I was very, very good at quiet. Easter came a few months later. We were invited to Constance's house again. I didn't want to go, but Daniel insisted. "She's trying," he said. "Let's give her a chance." I knew better. When we arrived, the house was filled with flowers and pastel decorations. A long table was set in the dining room, and in the sunroom, a smaller table with fancy place settings. "That's the kids' table," Constance said cheerfully. "Only room for 4. Victor's 3 kids sat down. Lily looked around. Constance gestured toward the kitchen. "Lily, sweetheart, you'll eat in there. I set up a little spot for you." A little spot. That's what she called it. I followed Lily into the kitchen. There was a folding chair, a paper plate, a plastic cup. She was expected to eat alone. While her cousins laughed in the sunroom, I knelt beside her. "You don't have to stay in here," I said. "We can leave." Lily shook her head. "It's fine, Mom. I don't want to cause problems." She sat down, and she ate in silence, facing the wall. Summer came next. A big family barbecue. Extended relatives were there. Aunts, uncles, cousins I barely knew. Lily wore a dress I'd found at a thrift store. I'd altered it myself, added a ribbon, hemmed the sleeves. She looked beautiful, but not to Giselle. "Oh," Giselle said loudly, looking Lily up and down. "Is that vintage? How creative." A few people laughed. Constance joined in. "Not all of us can dress our children properly, Giselle. Some people have to make do." Lily heard. She stopped eating. "Mom," she whispered, "can we go home?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table and tell them exactly what I thought, but I didn't. Because I was watching, listening, and writing everything down. A few weeks later, Constance called. "I'm planning a special cruise for the grandchildren," she said. "Winter break. The kids will love it. I need help booking excursions and managing the schedule." "You're good at that sort of thing, Maya." I paused. "All the grandchildren?" I asked. "Of course," she said sweetly. So I helped. I spent hours researching activities, coordinating with travel agents, organizing itineraries. 2 weeks before departure, Constance called again. "Small issue," she said. "The cabin only fits 4 children. Lily will have to sit this one out. But you'll still help with the final details, won't you?" I couldn't speak. She wanted me to plan a vacation my daughter wasn't invited to. Daniel told me he'd talk to her. He didn't. Nothing changed. That night, I opened a notebook. I started writing dates, quotes, witnesses, every insult, every exclusion, every cruel smile. I stopped begging. I stopped hoping. I started preparing, and they had no idea. What they didn't know was that I wasn't just a bookkeeper anymore. Over the past 2 years, I'd been building something. A side business. A real one. I had 3 virtual assistants working with me. I had clients. Good ones. Small businesses that trusted me with their numbers. And I'd saved. A lot. Not enough to be rich, but enough to walk away. Enough to never need them again. And that wasn't all. I'd been keeping records. Screenshots of family group chats where Lily was left out. Photos of seating arrangements. Receipts showing how much Constance spent on the other grandchildren. The Christmas iPhones? Logged. The Easter table? Photographed. The cruise booking? Documented. They looked at me and saw a pushover, a quiet daughter-in-law who smiled and nodded. What they didn't know was that I'd been keeping score. And there was one more thing. Last year, Constance organized a big charity gala. She bragged about it for months, told everyone she'd personally raised the funds, that she was a pillar of the community. What she didn't tell anyone was that the gala was funded mostly by anonymous donors. I was one of them. $5,000. My money, her credit, and I had the receipt to prove it. I hadn't told Daniel yet, but I was ready. My best friend Priya had been watching this unfold for years. Priya works as a family law paralegal. She's sharp, direct, and she doesn't sugarcoat anything. One night, over coffee, I showed her my notebook. She read it in silence. Then she looked up. Maya, you're not going to court, but you need to be ready to speak with power. This? She tapped the notebook. This is leverage. Use it. She helped me organize everything, dates in order, patterns highlighted. When I got home, I showed Daniel. He sat on the couch and read through it, page by page. When he finished, he was pale. I didn't see it, he whispered. I mean, I saw pieces, but I didn't want to believe. It's been happening for years, I said. He looked at me. His eyes were wet. I've let this happen too long. I'm so sorry. That was the first time he was fully on my side. A few weeks later, Constance's 65th birthday was approaching. Big party, rented venue, 40 guests. One afternoon, I walked into the kitchen and heard Daniel's phone on speaker. It was Constance, talking to Giselle. We should finalize the trust paperwork before the party, Constance said. I don't want Lily included. She's not really one of us. I froze. I don't think I breathed for a full minute. Daniel looked at me. His face changed. He hung up without saying goodbye. That's it, he said. I'm done. For once, I believed him. We sat at the kitchen table that night. We made a plan. Constance's birthday party would be the night we told the truth, not to hurt her, but to stop hiding. The venue was beautiful, white tablecloths, candlelight, 40 guests dressed in their finest. Constance sat at the head of the table like a queen. People gave toasts. They praised her generosity, her elegance, her dedication to family. Halfway through dinner, she stood up. I want to take a moment to recognize my beautiful grandchildren, she said. The next generation of this family. She smiled. Ethan, Madison, Oliver. She looked around the room. You three are my legacy. That was it. She didn't mention Lily. My daughter was sitting right there, and her own grandmother erased her in front of everyone. The room clapped. I stood up. Constance's smile faltered. I'd like to say a few words too, I said. She couldn't refuse. Not in front of 40 people. Of course, she said tightly. Go ahead. I took a breath. For 3 years, I said. My daughter has been excluded from gifts, meals, vacations, and now, apparently, the family trust. The room went silent. Giselle's fork froze midair. Victor looked at the floor. I'm not here to embarrass anyone, I continued, but I won't stay silent anymore. I pulled out my phone. I have documentation, dates, quotes, photos. Every single time Lily was left out while the other grandchildren received everything. Constance's face went red. That's ridiculous, she said. You're exaggerating. I didn't raise my voice. The Christmas iPhones, logged, the Easter table, a paper plate in the kitchen while the other kids ate in the sunroom. The cruise she wasn't invited on, all of it. I have it here. I looked at her. And there's one more thing. I swiped to another photo. Last year's charity gala, the one you bragged about organizing, the one you told everyone you funded personally. Constance's eyes widened. $5,000 of that gala came from me. Anonymously. I never needed credit. But I won't be erased either. I showed the room the donation receipt. Her name wasn't on it. Mine was. The silence was deafening. Constance stammered. That's not, I didn't know. You didn't ask, I said. I turned to look at Lily. She was sitting quietly, her eyes wide. I walked over to her. My daughter doesn't need your phone, I said. She doesn't need your cruise. She doesn't need a seat at your table. I took her hand. What she needed was to see that someone would stand up for her. I looked at Constance. That's what I'm doing tonight. Daniel stood up beside me. Mom, he said, this ends now. If Lily isn't family to you, then neither are we. Constance tried to recover. I never meant we can include her. Let's not make a scene. I didn't flinch. We're not making a scene, I said. We're making an exit. I held Lily's hand, and we walked out. The car ride home was quiet. Lily held my hand the whole way. When we pulled into the driveway, she finally spoke. Mom? Yeah, baby? You didn't have to do that for me. I turned to look at her. I didn't do it for you, I said. I did it with you. You deserve to see what standing up looks like. She nodded slowly. Then she hugged me. Weeks passed. Some extended family reached out, apologizing, saying they had no idea. I was polite, but I kept my distance. Constance sent a letter, half apology, half justification. I didn't respond. Daniel cut contact with his mother. He's in therapy now, working through years of guilt. My business kept growing. I hired a fourth assistant, signed 3 new clients. Lily started art classes at a studio downtown. She's thriving. One evening, she came to me with a drawing. It was our apartment, our little kitchen table, the 3 of us, smiling. This is my favorite place, she said. I looked at it for a long time, and I finally understood. For once, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. And my daughter learned something no phone could ever teach her. Her worth was never up for debate. If you've ever had to protect your child from the cruelty of people who should have loved them, I see you. This story isn't just mine. It belongs to every parent who's had to choose between peace and dignity. Hit that subscribe button if you've ever stood up when no one else would. Drop where you're watching. From in the comments. I read every single one. And if you have a story like this, share it below. You might be the reason someone else finds their courage. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.